Hi, folks. Steve Urban here from the Riderflex podcast. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by two companies I'm deeply involved with. First up, Robo Reliance, your trusted partner for nationwide robot maintenance and repair, specializing in humanoid and autonomous robots for homes and businesses. Visit roboreliance.com to learn more. And for all your home maintenance needs, there's Cura Home Maintenance of Colorado. From air duct cleaning to dryer vent cleaning to gutter cleanouts and much more. Check them out at curahomeservices.com. And finally, don't forget about the two books we've published in the Riderflex Guide series. The first being the Riderflex Guide, Inspiring and Hiring. This one is targeted at all types of managers and supervisors, anybody that interviews and hires people. And the second one, the Riderflex Guide 2.0, Mastering Job Interviews, designated to help all levels of job candidates prepare for and ace the interview. And now for today's episode. Please subscribe and enjoy. Greater Los Angeles. Rick, welcome to the Riderflex show. What do you got? Do you got the normal beautiful weather in LA today, or what's it doing?
Yeah, 76 degrees, sun's out, wind out of the west a little bit, maybe 2 miles an hour. We had some really brisk winds yesterday, but it's calmed down and really nice. No snow.
You got it rough out there. You just got it tough with the weather out there.
Yeah. Well, it's why we stay.
Right. How long you been there?
I've been here all my life, actually. I'm a native Californian, Southern California, born and bred. Went through the school systems in Long Beach. And yeah, then now I'm here. So I have a small home in Lakewood, which is a suburb of Long Beach, Los Angeles area, near the Orange County border. And yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Very good. So you're a native, one of the few, one of the
Yeah,
few.
what yeah, yeah. Well, my dad was shipped out here in the Navy in the early 50s, and in turn he had all of his kids then, and then now here we are. So it was one of those things where the Navy from Long Beach was the driving factor for me being here and born here.
Right. Was your dad a lifelong military guy, or what did he do later?
No, he went from there and then basically worked in the shipyards down here in Southern California. I followed a little bit of that path too, and working in the shipyards, and then eventually broke off and studied computer science and engineering and got into the educational system, and of course that led to a good move for me. So it was good.
What'd your mom do?
My mom was a housekeeper most of the time. We there were six of us,
Oh,
so
well, there you go.
she was pretty busy,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and it was a big clan that we had. So, she stayed busy with that. Occasionally, she'd pick up a small job here and there, but most of the time she was with us.
Yeah. So where were you in the mix? What number were you?
I'm the oldest son, so number two. My sister was older than me, but yeah, four boys and two girls. So
Wow. All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
All
the
right.
boys always had to hang out and leave the girls alone.
And what kind of young man was Rick? Were you wild? Were you at service in the library every day? Were you a rebel? Where were you, Rick?
Well, I was a musician, so
Oh,
at
oh,
a young
cool.
age got interested in music and became a classical string bassist before getting a degree in computer science and engineering. So my roots were in classical music, and I was really I wasn't a wild guy, although I did go out and have fun. But most of the time I studied, and I kind of studied classical music.
How about that? Do you still play
I do. I still play. Yeah, absolutely.
by
I've got some
yourself, or
recordings
like in,
out
in
there.
a like some friends get together, or what do you or like what?
Well, I'm kind of a, I'm a hired hand. So I've
I
done,
see.
whatever people want to bring me in for, contract musician. I toured with the Vienna Boys Choir for a little bit, with a
Uh,
youth orchestra one time, and done
uh,
recordings for Sony Music and Universal Motown. So and then I had a guy that he passed away about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, who I was a violinist, and so I would be my main instrument was string bass, which is the big upright bass. But then I picked up guitar and singing and then played a duet for a number of years with my friend who was a violinist I met in an orchestra. And we played, he toured with Page and Plant and was with Wayne Newton up in Sammy Davis Jr. back in the days. I'm dating
Wow.
myself,
Oh,
but
cool.
it's Smokey Robinson, and so he got me into Universal Motown sometimes. So yeah.
That's pretty neat. Now, see, everybody thinks IT guys are boring, but that's not true. It's not true.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, we're geeks. There's no doubt about it. But when I decided to go into technology, I actually went through the orchestra and started asking people questions about what they did in their day jobs and when they were working before going to music. And most of them were engineers and mathematicians. And so I found the correlation there with that. If you look at kind of three-dimensional mathematics, X, Y, and Z axis, and you look at music with harmony, melody, and rhythm, you have those three components. And they kind of jump out of the page at you, just as they would in three-dimensional mathematics. So yeah, I mean, to me, it was a kind of a transition that took some time because I mean, I had zero math skills at the time, but then decided to dive into engineering and ended up getting a math minor with a computer engineering degree out of Long Beach State.
Computer engineering, back when you did it, that was black screens with green letters.
You bet, man. Actually, back when I did it, it was punch cards. So when the first line editor came out, I was pretty happy, and then the full screen editor, whoa, look at that! I can see all the code right here. Didn't have to walk around with a box of cards and stumble that
Good.
around. But understanding the logic and being able to do the different kinds of computational looks at how computing is, I was able to just continue to migrate into different programming languages and, went from, a simple Fortran to C++ to COBOL to anything that I can get my hands on. And yeah, today I'm more of an architectural person, although I do have a Python module up here that I'm writing a little bit. But I just do it just to kind of keep myself in touch.
Yeah.
Normally, I have people that do this. We have people in Mexico near shore and, of course, offshore. And then I have a group of folks in Seattle and San Francisco that work with me as my leadership team. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool.
As you were moving up through your career, did you have aspirations early on to get to the C-suite, or it just kind of happened?
Well, it just kind of happened. I mean, my aspirations were just to kind of get to be a project manager at some point because I wanted to get to set the direction. And in doing so, it eventually led me to sit in the C-suite and explain how projects work and how they're going to be, how the plan is put together and how we're going to deliver certain tangible items to them. And, it just went to that point. And I think some of the things that I did the best was with being able to come in time and under budget. So that it led to more leadership roles. And plus, I'm a people person too, in some ways. So, getting teams together and, as a leader, getting folks to buy into certain scenarios and getting them to come together as a team
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
really something that I did well.
Yeah, you had some mentors early on tap you on the shoulder. Well, notice your skill set, your leadership skill set, your people skills, and tap you on the shoulder and move you up. So you weren't just a nerd, so to speak. You had the leadership skills, and somebody gave you opportunity, which was great. That's
Yeah,
outstanding.
yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, when I worked for Kaiser and McDonnell Douglas, they did ask me to step in a more leadership role. So.
And were you thinking I'm going to own my own business someday, or I want to be an entrepreneur?
No, I always had that in the back of my mind, and I
Did
think
you?
that comes from the creative side of music, and
Ah,
I think that because when you're freelancing as a musician, it's you are the entrepreneur. I mean, you're the person doing it, and a lot of my stuff, starting my own business, really came out of contracting, and needing a mechanism to be able to bill my customer and do it legally and all that stuff. And so I created a company and then I had ideas around the company, how we were going to operate, what we were going to do, the different products we were going through. And of course, when I started the company back in 2007, it was the whole technology stack was different, and we've morphed our way through to this point of being able to understand the current technology stacks. So it's in technology, in my mind, it's really about an expanding and contracting processing environment that we go through these cycles, no matter what the technology is that's supporting it. And right, distributive systems right now are kind of big, but then I think you're going to see people kind of centralize more into using AI within their own little modules and trying to use them as agents for now until it becomes smarter and have a better capability of producing things. Because right now it really doesn't produce anything. It just gives you those funky pictures with multiple fingers and weird people in the background that don't make sense. So.
I want to get into AI, but before we do, you said you started the company in '07, and we have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to the show. So I want to ask you a few questions here. Were you moonlighting on the side while you had to keep other jobs to get to prop your company up? Like, what was the transition, and what can you educate the listeners on? Anybody that might be, interested in doing their own thing.
Well, I think what really transitioned me was getting into the product space. And coming out of kind of traditional aerospace industry, where it's just my first few jobs, then going into the product space made me see the kind of groundwork on how to start a company, what to do with respect to getting it out to a point of IPO, or how to get funding, how to get customers, how to get people to work together. And so when I first went into the Silicon Valley, it was with startups. And so I thought, wow, what's this startup thing going on? And it was just a matter of figuring out how to incorporate, how to get the right people, get products and customers together. And it just spun out from there. Have I worked two jobs before, my company and a main job? Of course I have. Yeah, absolutely. I
like
think we
most
all
of
do.
us, like most of
Yeah.
us startup founders, you know.
Yes, we got to eat, there were cycles in the middle of this where I had to do that, and we just keep going though. But I think it really has to do with having an idea that you can funnel and helping people with the products you have. And so from all of my days, I started out with customer relationship management. I was part of the underpinnings of the beginnings of that when it first rose out of the Silicon Valley. And I think being customer focused and having that kind of understanding of the software build, how the customers work, how you deal with service, support, sales, all the different things in CRM. That just led to me thinking, well, hey, man, we can do this too. I can do this too with my
Mhm, mhm.
partners. Mhm.
It's Counterpoint Solutions is the company, right? And the website is counterpointdelivers.com. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Um, Elevator pitch, commoner language. Tell us what you do. Give us the pitch.
Well, we're an IT services company, and we create accelerators to help people fast track their ideas and their needs. We have one in healthcare right now for provider data management. So we basically do consulting and software.
Okay. So you build custom software, or you do add-ons, plugins? What, I mean, from the ground up, tell me what you mean by the software piece. Go a little deeper.
Yeah. Oh, well, we create the products too, but we also support on the services side those existing COTS applications. So we'll send people to help out with Salesforce development. We have Salesforce developers that we do. If you have database management that you need to have, we have people that go out and do database work for you. So it really is kind of depending on what the customer needs are, right? If the customer wants us to scope develop a program and bring it in to them, we'll do that right away. But if they have like, a Salesforce or they have an SAP, we'll put the right people in place to help them continue the growth of that product.
Are you just doing big projects? Do you do small little short fixes? And also what's your target client or customer? Are you small to mid-sized, Fortune 500? So two-part question there.
Yeah, Fortune 500 is what we target. And we try to create our value system based on kind of more compartments within those larger companies. So we see a larger company with a smaller department that has a need, and then we go in and we help with those needs at that kind of a portion, which leads to kind of adapting to what the current company has in their software stack and what they don't have and how we can best help with the business.
Does a lot of that target list come from your network and all the people you know from all those big companies you've worked for?
For the
I'm
most
guessing.
part. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what we do. I do have my friends are still in influential positions that help us out. So
Do you have
yeah,
a mix of 1099 or contractors and employees on your team, or what's the team look like?
yeah. My core team is really somebody who is employed by me, but then we contract in specific resources for the technology stacks when they're needed.
Okay. Can you have somebody after we finish the podcast? Can you have somebody attach my ATS system as a recruiting firm, my applicant tracking system? Can you make that and my Chat GPT account talk to each other? That'd be awesome.
Well, we do that today with the Provider Genie, which is something that I have, which is a interactive display that goes through ChatGPT 3.5. We're only using 3.5 now, but we have a chat mechanism that actually shows physician information based on location, contract, skill, taxonomy, and the actual physician themselves. So we do that today. I
Well,
can. The answer
that
is
yeah. I mean, let me give you an example of what I wish I could do. So
Mhm.
we're a generalist boutique firm, and we got about, I don't know, 400,000 profiles in the system over the years we've gathered. And
Mhm.
let's say I get a new search, somebody calls me and says, "Hey, Steve, I need a VP of sales for whatever," right? VP of sales for a concrete company. I don't know. I'm just making something up, but yes, my ATS has some filters and stuff, kind of clunky. But boy, I'd like to just open up my advanced voice mode on ChatGPT, and she says, "Hi, Steve, how are you today?" And I go, "Hey, Mary," or whatever the hell I call her. "Hey, Mary, I just got this new job spec in. I just shared it with you. Look in my database and pull out the top 5 applicants for me that match this. Boom, done. I just want that. Can you get that done
Yeah,
for me?"
absolutely. Absolutely. We do that with physicians today, so the same model would just have to adapt, I think, even to a smaller scale than what we do today.
We should talk offline. Uh, I- now
Sure.
keep in mind, I'm
Yeah,
I'm a
sure.
little tiny company. I'm not your target, but
I get that. Yeah, no,
but
we, we
but
we
but
we we have small companies too. Actually, I just got off a call with a small company that's starting up that want us to help. They want me to contract as their interim CEO, and they want us to do all the development on the back end. So yeah, and they're
maybe since you were on the Riderflex podcast, and maybe we could do some extra marketing to push out your company in exchange for a little some favors over here.
quid pro quo will work. Absolutely. No, we can
uh,
work through that. I'm sure we can look at it, Steve.
we'll talk about that. Okay, thank you. If people, and I want to get into some heavy AI conversation. So let's for your company though, counterpointdelivers.com. They just go there to connect.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention there as far as that goes?
No, I mean, with respect to the website itself, we do have the Provider Genie that's up there with a recorded
I see that.
simulation of what it does.
I see that.
And so, yeah, so when you can go through that, you can check that out. Also, too, we keep it simple. So to contact us, if you have any requests, we just have a simple contact page to give us. So you can see on the main page, you can also scroll down and see the different types of services that we provide for you and things of that nature. So, yeah, I
Okay.
mean, we're a full stop shop.
Okay.
Um, so there it
Okay.
is.
Cool. All right. Cool. What's your personal life? Are you married, kids, grandkids, single? What's
Well, I
going on
have,
with you?
yeah, no, no, I have, everybody's gone except for today. I have a fiance and her two stepsons with me, and they're both in college right now. One is going into nursing and is in an accelerator program at Cal State Fullerton. The other is at UC Irvine, which is a nice college here. He's studying finance and business, which is great.
That's
None of them
cool.
are in technology. I kind of, hey guys, nobody wants to go into, security systems, you know. And so
I,
no, they're that. So I'm happy with this.
I'm assuming that's not your first marriage. With no kids from the first marriage?
No, no, no. I know I have two grandkids,
Oh,
a daughter and a son, and my ex who passed away a number of years ago.
I
So
see.
yeah,
I see.
I
Two
mean,
grandkids. Are
they're
you
okay.
are you Papa? Are you Grandpa? What are you?
I'm Rick to everybody
Oh,
now. I'm Grandpa. They call me Grandpa when they talk to
okay.
me.
Okay.
But everybody else, even my kids, call me Dad. So and
Okay.
but my stepkids, they just call me Rick.
Fiance. What's it like to have a fiance at your age now? Is that weird? Does it feel weird?
Well, yeah, it did. I didn't really want to do this anymore, frankly, and but she's, but I look at. I mean, I decided to let somebody back into my life. Frankly, I
Yeah,
was just happy enough living alone
right?
and
Yeah.
enjoying the fruits of my labor and just playing music, traveling around. I worked in Australia and New Zealand for a number of years, and so I have
Cool.
friends that I would travel down there and did some work in Europe, and so yeah, I worked for Oracle down there in Australia in Melbourne,
Ah.
and so I was doing well, but I look at it's hard to find somebody that you want to really kind of lock
Oh,
into. And she's 20 years younger than me.
well, there you
And
go. That's hey, it's easy to lock in when it's 20 years younger. There you go.
yeah, yeah, but she's a doll. I mean,
Uh,
she's a very special person, and so getting to the point where you can find somebody who's more devoted and less detached, I think is a good thing. And
well, you look like
she's
you're in pretty good shape. Of course, you have to stay in good shape, knowing that your fiance is 20 years younger. You look like
Well, that's it too. Yeah, no, no, I'm also somebody who's been training in Shotokan karate for about 30 years now. So,
I was going to say you
you
look
know,
like you're in pretty good shape. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
yeah, I try to stay in shape. I don't know. You talk to
So
my
if we're
doctor.
if we're at the bar together, you're. I'll just let everybody know he's on my side.
Yeah. Well, everybody calm down. It's okay.
Everybody calm down. Everybody calm.
Yeah, yeah.
I have friends. So I'm 57. I have friends that are in their mid 50s to up to mid 60s. So we'll call it a 10-year period there. And man, there's two or three guys that are divorced or maybe their wives are passed or whatever. They're single for whatever reason, right?
Mhm.
And they'll call me like we'll go out for happy hour or something, and they'll just tell me they're like, man, this sucks. Like trying to like meet a girl at this age is fucking impossible. Like they just bitch about it all the time. They're like, oh my
It
God.
is.
So
It's hard.
yeah, so you finding somebody, you got lucky. What was she in the karate class or what?
No, no, actually, we met online,
Oh,
and it
really?
was kind
Okay.
of, yeah, it was kind of I mean, I didn't expect it because I never had faith in any of that.
Uh,
And frankly, I mean, I've never had the problem of this. Every time I travel, you go into an airport or something, I always met women and had a good time and enjoyed their
yeah.
company and
Yeah,
many
cool.
different girlfriends and things of that nature. But it's hard to find somebody who has the character that you want at this age, who is not going to just come in there and want to take your money and run or something like that, who want to be loyal with you. And that's what I was looking for. And I had, like really a few women I was dating at the time. And I just decided as each one started doing certain things to make me feel as though they weren't really dedicated, they fell off the map until the last one standing was there. And that was her.
That's
She's
so
she's
good.
from Vietnam too. So she's a very strict
Oh,
woman,
okay,
so
cool.
yeah, so
That's a neat story. I appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
yeah.
Um, all right, switching gears. So we're recording this on what is today, November 7th, 2024. Wow, Rick, I mean, what a world we're living in here with this AI. I mean, can you even believe some of the stuff that's going on? Maybe you can't since you've been in it for so long, but I mean, if you would have told me back in 79 or 80 that we would be at this point. I just can't. Some days I wake up, I'm like, wow, I cannot believe where we're at. I mean,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about where we're at right now with AI? And I just want to get your 30,000 foot perspective so far.
Yeah, well, just like any kind of intelligence that you develop, you're going to have to, curate it through time. And curating the AI models from when we first started by looking at chaos theories and fractals from a mathematical perspective, and then developing it into neural networks that are actually kind of learning things and understanding things took quite a bit of time, and it took a vast amount of data. So we continue to look at incorporating a vast amount of data into this. So data was the key, and information capture was the key. And you just don't do that overnight.
Yeah.
You do it throughout, the years. And so this is what's happened over the years, where we've gotten to the point where the neural networks that were developed are starting to get to the point of language models and then large language models. And so just to kind of skip over some things and not get into too much detail about how that got there, is that what we needed were frameworks. And I think today, when we look at AI, as far as where we're at, it's the Wild West still. We don't have a standard framework with respect to all the models that are out there. You can go out to Rasa, you can get Langchain, all these different types of things are available for you to be able to create those types of interactive bots that you work with and have. I think the other thing that too uh, comes out of this is the way a natural language processing is developed also, and to a point where some of these bots have developed their own language that we don't understand. And that happened on Facebook about 4 years ago. And that in itself is kind of intriguing. They shut down the bots because they just couldn't, they didn't want that to continue to propagate throughout the different bots. We don't know what kind of impact that will have. And I
Mm.
think that's what we need to look at today. Today, when we use AI, it's mainly an agent, that just helps us, on the side, like a little something that's out there when I need some kind of
Mhm.
information or coalescing of information. It does it really fast. It does all the different kinds of curations and the different kind of searches for you really quickly. I mean, frankly, it's Google search or AI right now. AI is kind of expanding beyond what the Google searches used to do, but it's just a search agent right now. I think I saw somebody call it a plagiaristic engine, so because it can also learn a little bit more and kind of reproduce art or reproduce music and so on down the line. So, to me, it's still the language model needs to be larger still. And what do I mean by that? In the sense of data, we need more metadata and we need more reference data crossing each other to be able to get it to a point where it's going to be more deterministic in its use. And so what I mean, people come back to me all the time and ask about probability. And I go, probability engines are great. You need those, right? Because then you can see the directions. But what do you do when you make a determination on it? Deterministic engines, which should expand now even more, are going to be the next generation. They're making determination, making decisions, doing it today, but not at the level that we need, right? Because we don't get back the full answers that we want. It's not able to make the determination that the picture has six fingers in it. It just gives you the picture. So as we continue to go on, and also too, I think the integration of virtual reality and then biological models on that too, I think is going to be something that's going to come out also. And that AI in itself can be embedded in our own bodies for our own health reasons or own for our abilities to do other things. So I do see it as being in its infancy state now and expanding to the point where it becomes more part of our interactive biology, frankly.
Do you, I mean, I'm sure you know about Neuralink and Musk
Yeah.
putting the chips in two people now. Well, do you think that'll advance, and do you think that'll eventually be a normal, common thing? What are your thoughts there?
I do think it'll advance. I don't know if what Musk is doing is going to be the kind of the beginnings of that. It is the beginnings of it, but it won't be the end state of it. I think what would be really cool for me is that let's say I'm going to go to a vacation in Japan and I don't know Japanese, but wouldn't it be nice to be able to take a little chip, plug it in there, fly over to Japan and konnichiwa, like be able to speak Japanese.
Be totally
And
awesome.
I just know a little bit, ichi, ni, san, chi, go, from my Japanese, but karate. But to have those types of things. The also thing I also believe what can happen is that it can look at us from an internal health, from based on our health, and be able to be predictive about some of the conditions that may come up
I think that's
that we
coming.
can head
Yep,
off.
yep,
You
yep,
know,
yep. And
and,
how about and how about this? Will it stop some pain? I thought I saw Musk say the other day that they're actually targeting it for neck and back pain now too. And
yeah,
when I saw that, I thought to myself, well, first of all, like 50% of America is in neck and back pain. So
Oh
everybody,
God.
I mean, it's like sign me up right now. Like, where do I sign up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I do see that as being able to help people and uh, keep getting better diagnosis and better prognosis on the
mm,
conditions that you're in.
mhm.
So I also believe that sooner or later that'll all be integrated and interactive so that right now today we have something called the health information exchanges, which is what centralizes locally the different types of conditions, admittance to hospitals, flu, that goes directly to the CDC.
Okay.
I'm sure sometime we're going to have these chips embedded in us that will allow us to integrate to
Ah,
our doctor,
I
show our
see.
doctor, then
Yeah.
then report immediately to that without all this, frankly, archaic
Oh,
IT stuff that it takes time for timely access and reporting up into HHS and all that stuff. It's all going to go wayside, and I think that it'll be because of the interactive model, interoperability, which is with the big world word in healthcare, which is out there, and that's where we're doing most of our work is in healthcare. One of
ah,
my clients right now, we're looking at health coins to look at the interactive ability of technology to be able to look at your value from your health and give you a ranking on that. We're first targeting diabetes,
mm,
pre-diabetes.
mm,
And
mm.
so if you're pre-diabetic, we're going to use blockchain and we're going to use the analytical reporting side of things with AI to set a value on how your lifestyle, your condition, your health, your physical being will react to those things with diabetes, and then give you a value on that. Of course, if you're doing the right things, you're going to the gym, you're eating salads, you're doing well, then your health coin would be a high value, and we can use AI to help derive that based on the ledger that is your body, that is your health thing, and that's you know really, if we look at the kind of distributed ledger technologies, which is uh, what Bitcoin runs off of and what blockchain is, then we can do that with our own ledger, which is our health body, our biological body.
I'm sure you've read the books and listened to all the podcasts from Ray Kurzweil, right? I'm sure
Oh, I
you're
know of them. Yeah, I haven't read them all, but yeah, I do know of
well,
them for sure.
he's pretty damn confident that it's going to extend life at some point. It's
Oh,
going
absolutely. No, I that's the part that I have followed him on, and I do believe I'm a little busy on my own little track here too. But yeah, no, but it's amazing when I raise my head out of the own research that we're doing, how many people, are kind of following through with some of the things we believe are happening too.
yeah.
I think it will
Yes,
extend life.
I
Yeah.
do too. I do too. I mean, can you imagine? I can't remember which one I was listening to on the treadmill the other day, but he was saying something to similar where you were going. He was like, just imagine that chip in your head is already linked to the
Yeah.
health information system that knows everything. It's registering
Mhm.
it, and then you're going to see an AI doctor slash an AGI robotic doctor
Yeah.
that knows more about health and you than any other human being combined on planet Earth, and can knows
Yeah.
every single pill you've taken, knows every single thing that's ever happened to you, knows exactly
Mhm.
where you're at, and prescribes the right thing immediately. And I was thinking to myself, wow, yeah, that okay, yeah, let's get there.
Yeah, let's get there. I mean, I'm really
uh,
excited about that stuff. I think the key to a lot of this is how to determine the guardrails around
I was just about to
which
go there. I was just about
which
to go there. So what? So yeah, good segue. So yeah, how do we advance to a, I don't know if utopia is the right word, but how do we advance to somewhat of a utopia world without too much legislation uh, uh, getting involved because we're all scared and everything, and so then it kind of squashes the advancement. How do we be safe without too many rules? Because I feel like there's going to be a balance there. What are your thoughts?
no, there have to be a balance, and I'm not into rules or anything, but let's take a step back and look at AI as though we're raising a child, okay?
Mhm.
And so we don't allow that child to drive a car until they're a certain age, right? We don't we have to allow that to based on the kind of way we we teach them, at the first bit, we teach them how to say certain words. Then we teach them sentences, and then we teach them paragraphs, and then they're asking for money. But, as we go through the
Uh,
process of AI becoming, you just don't let the child run loose, in other words. And so what we have is a rule response model, where we look at the rules of certain guardrails, certain industries. Like, for example, if you're in healthcare and you say, I want to do surgery on a turnip, the rule is you don't do surgery on turnips, right? I mean, so the AI would come back and say, "Excuse me, sir, but nah, it's not going to happen." But I think as we cultivate more AI tools in different areas and segmentations, we're going to have these guardrails based on that, and that's where regulatory bodies should look at. You know, seat belts in a car. Okay, so what do we do at making sure that AI doesn't run us into a wall somewhere? And we're kind of doing it today with the cars that are running on their own too. Driverless cars is kind of the first step of this, right? And so I think that what we're going to see is more of this kind of learning models with kind of, if we can get the regulatory bodies to, and for heaven's sakes, I don't even think they think like this at all, but to get them to look at the kind of the bounds in which we want a certain agent to act on. A healthcare agent acting on healthcare, a military agent acting on, military strategy, and so on down the line, different types of industries, public utilities, so on down the line too.
do you think, I'm assuming that as powerful as ChatGPT is, I've been using the 01 mini and 01 preview model. As I'm assuming that the military or somebody has access to something way stronger, or do you think the strongest thing that is out there is what the public has access to?
No, I don't think the strongest thing is out there that the public has access to.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Was it
Okay.
Perplexity? Is that the company that's out there doing things now in AI, that working with the federal government and the military?
I
They
think.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, and I saw an interesting interview with one of the co-founders, and I think they've been helping a lot in looking at military strategy, and not only that, identifying targets and what they can use and do.
Yeah.
And so I finished a 2-year stint with Navy medicine. And so, I saw a little bit of that from an operational development side. But of course, I can't speak much about it because I'm still under secret clearance.
I
But
got you.
for that matter, it's a tool that will help more, I think, not so much in creating, and it will create the ultimate soldier eventually. You'll be able to drop a bot in and bang, 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 shoot up and do whatever it
I
wants to
mean,
do.
I mean, don't, I mean, they already have drones that do that. Aren't they gonna,
Oh, yeah.
they're gonna drop humanoid robots to do that like soon, aren't they? I'm
Soon,
sure
absolutely.
soon,
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. So the whole thing around that guardrail, of course, is, making sure it's shooting at the right guys, you know. And so and that's as simple as putting a
Uh,
sensor in a boot, or possibly a chip in
and
the
then what happens?
shoulder.
And then what happens when the sensors don't work anymore? Then boom, guess what? We're in Terminator, and then we got to call Sarah Connor to come help us all.
Yeah, well, and I love those movies, by the way. That Terminator 2 is my favorite, right? So,
Uh,
so the exotic metals that'll be developed in
yeah.
supporting this, I think could be a very good feature of that,
I
right?
mean, so have you read the book by Mustafa Solomon, The Coming Wave? Have you read that one? Uh,
Yeah, I have. It's been a while, but yeah, I remember that.
um, do you, I guess on a serious note, we're joking around a little bit, kind of, but I mean, on a seriously, I mean, I've talked to so many people on the show now. You got your doomsdayers over here like, oh my God, AI is going to eliminate all the jobs and eventually it's going to kill us all. And then you got everybody else, then you got the other people over here like, no, it's going to be a world of abundance and utopia and we're all going to just do our hobbies because we're not going to have to work and everything's going to be great. Where are you in there, Rick?
I'm a more positive guy on it, right? But that
Okay.
doesn't mean I don't want to be able to. That doesn't mean I'm not going to consider the damage it can do too. And I
Okay.
think that's what we need to do is really look at and continue to put forth those things that'll create better lives for all of us. I do believe it's going to create more time for us, and it's going to open up other avenues of work that we don't know of yet. because we'll be able to get away from some of the mundane things that we do when we try and do work. Like,
Mhm.
looking for a needle in a haystack, for lack of a better term, when searching or doing research, it's going to help us out a lot on that. So then I can work more on strategically what I want to try and do and conceptually what I want to do. So I think this is the parts that AI is still got it has to learn more to be conceptual, and be rational. And it's never really going to be rational, I don't think. It just will be able to help us in looking at conceptualizing and giving us a direction uh, uh, to be able to make decisions that are going to take the next step that AI can't do. And I think there's that distinct difference between rationalization and determination. That AI will be a deterministic engine. It will be something that'll look at it and try and figure out rationalization, but it'll never be happy. It'll never be sad. It'll always have to deal with the kind of
I don't know.
conditions
Have
that,
you used Pi from have you used PI?
yeah.
Look, sometimes she sounds sad and happy.
Well, but that's still, I
Uh,
mean, yeah. I mean, that's still
if I tell
deterministic.
her
That's
if I tell her to flirt with me, she'll flirt with me.
absolutely, yeah, but that's
Uh,
still rule based, right? It's
okay,
it doesn't
okay,
it's
okay.
all based on rules that you already made the decision. She doesn't feel happy
I
based
got
on
you. I got
interactive.
you.
70% of communication in humans are interactive, right? Based on
Okay,
body
okay.
language and those. Anyway, but
Uh,
that's the
uh,
part.
for people that we don't know, there's an app called Pi. What's the company? Who makes that?
Uh,
I can't remember.
I
Um,
don't know, man.
but I want to
OpenAI
ask
is
you. I want
was
to
I
ask you
know
about this. So tell me if you think how far off base you think I am here. This is a prediction I have
sure.
because I'm in recruiting and staffing. I see some jobs being affected already by AI a little bit.
Mhm.
I think my prediction is that AI will eliminate jobs and eventually new jobs will be created. But I worry about this the in between. So the immediate effect of job loss before the new jobs are created, and then this little messy period where people might get a little pissed and upset, and robots are taking jobs, and there's not enough, and now we have more unemployment, and all of a sudden there's a little messy period before it works out. Uh, what are your thoughts?
I think we're in the messy period already. I mean, you have
Okay.
manufacturing robots already there, right?
Okay.
And they've been taking jobs away for a long time.
I got you.
I think a little bit of the reaction of maybe what happens politically is part of that too.
Okay.
That
Okay.
people don't trust and don't respect some of the things that are being done out there in kind of the institutions that we have, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
it's going to be a little bit of time, and it's going to be a lot of, I think, work to make sure that people understand that, to not be resistant. Because what is the one thing in technology that's the hardest thing for people to do? Adapt to change. I
Change.
mean,
Well,
nobody wants to adapt to change. We get
nobody likes.
locked into our
Yeah.
own, yeah,
Yeah.
we get locked into our own cycles. And when something new comes around, we don't stop and take a look and say, oh, wait a second. So those people to that point that fall off into dystopia and just can't seem to work their way out of that, is because they just did not pop their head up a little bit or just kind of think differently. And I think I want to touch on one other thing about this is that I don't think we have enough creative thinkers out there. And what I mean is that conceptualization requires creativity, and we've taken it out of our school systems. Being
Mm,
a musician, I
mm.
think I have an advantage by being a classical musician before I became an engineer. Because I think out of that box, I think away from these different things. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that we need to instill back in our school system and our educational system is more music training, more arts training. And these are the things that'll differentiate us from the machine in a sense, because the human experience is still unique.
Mm.
And it's still formidable out there with respect to the thought and the things we can do. We may stammer around and be stupid about stuff a lot, and most of the time, right? But there's that one brilliant stroke is all we need is one brilliant stroke to illuminate a lot of problems and be able to solve them, right? And so what are they? I mean, when they come up, fair and balanced elections, better health care. I mean, we're just not there yet, right? And so I think that's what we kind of need to evolve to is to the point where we have, better thinkers,
Yeah.
better conceptualizers that can use this as a tool and take it to the next generation.
I
So that's my
couldn't
thought.
I couldn't agree more. And I want to pause right there. That might be the highlight clip right there. Um, I couldn't agree more. It definitely is eliminating the tactical doing stuff. It's quickly eliminating the doing and allowing for more thinking and creativity and ideas. It does even for me. I mean,
Yeah,
for anybody that's using it. And I firmly agree with you that we're going to get more creative. And now it's, in my opinion, it's an entrepreneurial's paradise because if you have an idea,
yeah,
you have agents and bots that'll do the work for you and help you through the idea by talking to it. Um,
absolutely.
so I think it's a transformational time where I don't know if I'm using the right words, but it is a it is a generational transition that I think people don't quite understand. It is allowing for us to move forward on our ideas without being bogged down with all the minutes it takes to do something. I
Yeah,
mean, gosh, I
exactly.
it, you literally could talk to your agent right now. You could talk to your advanced voice mode on ChatGPT and say, you know what, I want to start a cookie company, but I have no fucking clue how to do it. And, she'll just start talking you through it. And before you know it, she's got an operating agreement and a business plan and a suggested cap table
Yeah,
and here's a list of here's a list of companies that invest in bakery companies and I mean, on and on and on, just like that. And so it's going to allow for so much more creativity. And I know I'm ranting here for a second, but this is why I encourage people to keep their head up, like you said. I am blown away, Rick, by how many people are not paying attention and not using the tools. It shocks me every day when I
yeah,
talk to somebody. I'll go down here to the to the pub where I'll with my buddies, and they have no clue what's going on.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's
What?
because they like this. They like the
Yeah, yeah,
keyboard
yeah. I don't want
and
to
they
type
like the
anymore.
mouse,
Yeah,
you
yeah. I
know?
don't know.
And,
I don't
and,
want.
and we
No,
we
no.
you got to get rid of that, man. That's the oldest piece of technology sitting on your desktop today
I
is
couldn't agree
is
more. So
a keyboard and mouse, man. It's like, give me a break.
I
And I don't know
totally
if you
agree.
ever saw Star Trek one where Scotty was talking to the computer when he went back in time. They were in San Francisco and they had gone back in time. And the guy said, "Oh, no, you need to type it in here." And said, "Oh, one of these old things." And he starts typing, like crazy. The
Yeah,
interaction, I think, is really where AI is going to take us into a better place too.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and eliminating some of the errors that we have in capturing data and being transactional about information, I think it's going to improve the data quality. And then
Yeah.
it's going to recheck the data quality and look at primary source validations, check and see about, is your chip properly responding based on blood pressure counts or blood counts and so on
Oh,
down the
that's so
line.
awesome.
I,
Yeah.
I, I think that is really where when we get the interactive stuff where I don't have to buy a laptop like this. I mean, we're kind of almost there with our phones,
Oh, well,
If we,
now, yes, and the voice mode is now on your desktop. It's not, it's still a little bit
yeah,
clunky, but it's going to get better. I mean,
yeah,
I think you're exactly right. Soon we are just talking. We're just telling it what we want done, and it's just doing it. And I'm ready for that to
yeah.
happen ASAP.
I mean, I see the Meta glasses with Ray-Ban being
Yep.
advertised now.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's the first step, right? And
Yep.
optical recognition is something too I think AI needs to get better at.
Mm.
That's one of the things that has been challenging is they don't see like we see. And so, having that ability to kind of frame a person and see it and then know that that's Rick, instead of just kind of an object sitting out
The,
there.
the
That's
other
it's
thing,
got
the
yeah.
other thing we need, I just want one agent. I just want one agent. I don't want to learn 20
Yeah.
different apps, 20
No.
different, I got to go over here for video. I got to go over here for audio. I got to go over here for writing. I got to over here for this. I don't want 20 sign-ins. I just want my one girl that I talk to. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's exactly right. And that's what I think you'll see, the evolution of your assistant that will be better than anything that Microsoft has brought up or anything that's been put
Hmm.
out there, even by Meta
Hmm.
today, right?
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
I, I think that and also how virtual reality plays into all of this too in our interactions, right? I think that we would, instead of putting up glasses on and having it affect us in this way, I think the better way of interacting would be through. I'd love to see a piece of cellophane you open up, and then all of a sudden, Steve, you're sitting there talking to me
That'd
in
be
your
great.
chair, and then
Be
we
awesome.
can have this conversation like Obi-Wan Kenobi, in a more advanced sense. The other thing would be the resistance of the touch, so being able to do the basic Newton law of every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. To
I would
have
love it.
that
I would love it.
hologram do that. Yeah. So, I mean, those are
Yeah.
the things.
One more topic here. We're almost done. Almost out of time. Let's switch to robotics, especially specifically humanoid robotics.
Mhm.
Um, Listen to that interview. I listened to the full interview with Brett Adcock, the CEO of Figure,
Yeah.
the Figure robot. Um, if anybody listening to the show right now doesn't know what I'm talking about, if you go to figure.ai, I think
Mhm.
you'll see that famous video of the robot putting the dish in the dish rack and he's handing him the apple and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
how soon will every middle class neighborhood have a humanoid robot doing chores? When is that? When is that going to happen?
Well, gosh, within the next 5 years, maybe. I
Maybe
mean,
it's
yeah,
possible.
I mean, if you think about it, being able to just answer the door, my Ring does it, but it would be nice to have an agent go in there and collect the mail,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
humanoid
sure.
go out to my mailbox and collect that. And even though as archaic as the U.S. mail system is, it's still going to be there. I think also too, I'd love to have somebody cut my lawn right now,
Yeah.
and do some of the things that are around here. Check my water pressure to see if I have a leak in my pipes, those types of things, the electrical to
Laundry,
see potential laundry. Yeah, big time. My
dishwasher.
laundry already, yeah, they already integrate anyway, right? I mean, my washing machines are all internet connected and I can control it from here. Even my toaster oven I can do from here. So, yeah, I think, within 5 years, the key things that I think are holding that back is the materials that we're creating the robots with. And what
Uh,
do I mean by that? We're still stuck on metal
uh,
and steel and aluminum and all those different parts, right? And if we
they're
get
heavy. Yeah.
yeah, heavy metals and I mean, if we can get to a point of plastics first and maybe pliable kind of stuff, I think that's when you're going to see some real advancements in having assistants that are, physically robots being around you.
And when they get the cost, I mean, I was having a debate with a friend of mine the other day, and I told him, I said, listen, if they get a humanoid robot to 150 bucks a month, almost every family in America will order one.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. And just if
Uh,
it maintenance free, right? If it breaks down,
yeah.
just come back
Yeah.
and have it come back in there, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, will we be Westworld maybe one day, or will we be what was the other one with Harrison Ford in that movie,
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner? Will we get to
Yeah,
this? I think that there's possibilities that we get to a Blade Runner point.
maybe. Now
Yeah.
the problem there is if they get the robots too good and too lifelike, then we get into the real weird stuff where people are like, now I'm going to have a relationship with it. Now I don't need a real girlfriend, and then we start drifting off into the Never Land. So we got to be careful.
Well, of course, and that's already happening now too. People are
Yeah,
falling in love with their
they are.
bots.
They
I
are.
mean, it's crazy. It's in
And you
my
know
mind,
why?
that's absolutely
You,
crazy.
you know why
There's a
that's happening?
regulator's challenge right there.
You know why that's happening is because loneliness is an epidemic. And
Yeah,
when you get this thing talking to you like it's your best friend, uh,
there you go.
there you go. Man,
Yeah.
I could have you on for another 4 hours talking about AI, Rick. I mean, geez.
I keep going
Great,
too.
uh,
Absolutely.
great conversation. Really appreciate your insights for the listeners one more time. Let's just bring up the website. Counterpointdelivers.com. Counterpoint Solutions is a company.
Yeah,
Your one-stop shop. Appreciate it, sir. I'm going to hit stop on the recording, but hang on just a second before you hang up, okay? Thank you.
sure. Hmm.